This is NewsBreak26 in Southwest New Brunswick. I'm Vicki Hogarth. Here's what's happening in our part of the world. On Saturday, dozens of people came out to the ribbon-cutting ceremony on Whitehead Island for the unveiling of the new Whitehead Community Center and Cafe, which has been nearly 6 years in the making.
The community raised over $45,000 from our little community. It's only 130 full-time residents here, so that was quite a substantial amount of money. And using that and the contacts with Andrea Anderson Mason, she hooked us up with various funding agencies within the both provincial and federal government, and we were able to, secure funding.
It takes 2 ferry rides to get to Whitehead Island from mainland New Brunswick, and the peaceful way of life is the reason why so many residents love to call it home. But when the island's only store and central meeting place closed in 2017, islanders were left without a place to connect with one another.
That's how I met people on the island initially, was coming to the store that used to be the unofficial community center and grabbing a cup of coffee, and people would sit around and, talk. And there was a bench in there called the Liar's Bench, and, people would, the fish started out this big and ended up being like that big. And it was a great way to get to know people, and there was no pressure. Generally speaking, folks sort of stay with either family or with people in their own age groups. And this was a way for people to, that I might be very friendly with, but, they're young people with kids, and I'm not so young with grandkids. And so, everybody was able to kind of socialize with each other and get to know each other. And we missed that. And I think we're going to have that. We're going to have our first coffee on Monday morning here.
The new community center not only fills the void left by the closure of the island's only store, but also welcomes tourists, becoming a vital island hub.
We have a few events scheduled, so there's going to be a Halloween party for kids. We're going to have a craft night. We're going to have a game night. We're going to have morning coffee.
In St. Stephen, a group of residents concerned about the rise in drug use, homelessness, and crime in the area organized a community event on Sunday at the Vineyard to hear from a panel of speakers with a diverse range of professional and lived experience. The speakers included Sergeant Scott McKenzie of the RCMP, Al Smith of the 12 Neighbors Community Tiny Homes, Christina Drake with lived experience of addiction and mental health issues, Greg Campbell with lived experience of homelessness and addiction, Jennifer Anderson Apope, who is the manager of addiction and mental health adult services for Charlotte County, and Richard Heislop of Needle Dogs. The speakers shared their insight and took questions from the audience. Co-organizer Cheyenne Matthews said the intent of the meeting was to delve deeper into the issues the community is currently facing and discuss how to best address them.
We're looking for some input for the community, for positive direction for the community to work together to maybe help with some of the issues that we're finding in the community, such as homelessness, crime, addictions.
Over 50 people, including St. Stephen Mayor Alan McEachran and 3 members of council, came out to the event. Sergeant Scott McKenzie was asked by a member of the audience why so many known criminals are constantly back on the street, despite having a long history of criminal behavior. Sergeant McKenzie explained that the way the justice system is currently set up, there's a set of criteria he needs to meet just to make an arrest, and then another set of criteria to send an alleged perpetrator to court. Then the judge has his or her own set of criteria to meet to sentence an individual. When you add that to the fact that jails are overcrowded, this is just an overview of why the justice system is taxed dealing with repeat offenders. When it comes to police presence in Charlotte County, Sergeant McKenzie said the lack of a courthouse in our community also takes RCMP away from the area.
It is a stress on our operations. The fact that our courthouse is now moved 100 and somewhat kilometers away. So there are issues that have come from that. We are working hard to mitigate those as best we can.
Co-organizer Brent McPherson told CHCO he will be presenting the highlights from the meeting to all levels of government and plans to organize more roundtables in the future. Finally, RCMP arrested 26-year-old Kody Hiltz on Sunday. Hiltz was the subject of an alert-ready message on Wednesday in the Moores Mills area that advised residents to stay inside with their doors locked. Hiltz was allegedly carrying a firearm with dangerous intent. Charges were laid against him in court this week, including assault with a weapon, possession of a weapon for a dangerous purpose, dangerous operation of a motor vehicle, failure to comply with a probation order, and resisting arrest. He was remanded into custody and is scheduled to return to court on October 20th at 9:30 a.m. That's all the news I have for you. For more stories and online exclusives, follow me, Vicki Hogarth, on Facebook and subscribe to CHCO-TV on YouTube.
A news and public affairs production of CHCO-TV, New Brunswick's only source for independent community television.